This week we're recapping the best bits of PAX Australia. Major Nelson from Xbox dropped by for a chat after his Storytime presentation. We caught up with the team from Alienware to talk PC hardware, and Angelo chatted to all 6 of the Australian Indie Showcase winners. This is Player Attack. Hi, I'm Jessica Citizen, and this week the big news comes from the far reaches of space. Specifically, No Man's Sky, which has received a massive free update that adds a ton of new content to the game. The Foundation update introduces the ability to build home bases, farm crops, create your own save points, leave messages for fellow explorers, and even adds a couple of new gameplay modes: Creative, which promises an unlimited universe with big bases, and Survival, which will make things more challenging. It is officially the first of many free updates that Hello Games is working on, but it's also the first we've heard from creator Sean Murray about the game since it launched back in August. Fans are freaking out now that it looks like his radio silence was because he's been, wait for it, hard at work fixing the game. And from one creative mastermind to another, Peter Molyneux is making headlines again, saying that he would love to make Fable 4, but you'd have to get the original team back together, and following the recent closure of Lionhead Studios, that might be easier said than done. On the flip side though, Ubisoft icon Michel Ancel has announced that he's been working on Beyond Good and Evil 2 for a long time, squishing rumours that the sequel had been canned. Far from it, he says it's actually in full-scale development, and he is very excited for the possibilities of creating a game to work with the latest consoles. We've received sales figures for 2 very different games this week, and one is a little more surprising than the other. The one we could have predicted, Pokemon Sun and Moon, sold nearly 2 million copies in Japan over the course of just 3 days. The official number of 1,905,107 units includes download cards and the Sun and Moon double pack, but no download-only sales. The game is also responsible for a massive rise in 3DS sales, jumping from 29,000 the previous week to 113,000 as the game was launched. We have heard stellar reviews of the latest Pocket Monsters, so if you haven't yet checked it out, maybe you should get onto that. What's surprising about the next one though isn't actually the total number. Farming Simulator 17 is even more popular than its predecessor, selling more than 1 million copies in its first month, nearly double the sales of the previous game. That's impressive, but what is really surprising? Just 20% of those games were via Steam, meaning that more than 700,000 gamers physically went to a store to buy a boxed copy of Farming Simulator 17. Now though, they are barricaded inside their homes playing just one more harvest. A couple of bits about Street Fighter V now. First up, producer Yoshinori Ono has told Japanese media that Capcom will continue to support the game into the future, hinting at a 5-year plan. He's not saying whether or not the company will release any other fighting games during that window, but emphasises that there is work to be done to solidify Street Fighter V as an esports title. And that brings us to our second point. Sometimes games are modded slightly when they're taken out of the lounge room and onto the esports stage. For Street Fighter V, there is one level that has simply been removed. Skies of Honor has been labelled too distracting for professional play. It's set above Dubai on a private plane, which tilts and moves across the sky as you duke it out. When you're playing on the couch, this is great fun, but when thousands of dollars in prizes are on the line, Capcom has decided to level the playing field, literally, and pluck the map from the roster. It might be worth firing up Pokemon Go again, even if you haven't visited the professor in a while. There is a new face on the block, hanging out, pretending to be someone else. Yep, Ditto has officially been added to Pokemon Go, so look closely at all of those Pidgeys and Rattatas that are lurking in your neighbourhood. The Mimic Pokemon is also useful in gyms. When training or battling, Ditto will copy the appearance, types and moves of the first Pokemon it sees, and will stay that way through the entire gym battle. Rocket League has also enjoyed a serious update, with the team at Psyonix introducing a custom trainer so you can finally practice your sweet moves. Simply pick a map, choose whether you want to be a striker or goalie, decide on a difficulty level and set about creating your own personalised training regime, working on the skills that most give you trouble. And finally this week, as we edge ever closer to the holiday release of the Assassin's Creed movie, a snippet of video game news. Monster Hunter is being made into a movie with none other than Resident Evil director Paul W.S. Anderson at the helm. Reports suggest that Anderson loves the game and believes that this one will be bigger even than Capcom's horror franchise. He's already penned the script and earmarked a budget of around $50 million. We'll hopefully hear more once Resident Evil The Final Chapter hits cinemas in January. Meanwhile, if you would prefer something a little more bite-sized and Zelda-themed, this stunning new short film explores the origins of Skull Kid from Majora's Mask. Titled Terrible Fate, this is a fan project from Ember Lab Studios, looking at what Skull Kid got up to before meeting Link in the game. You can watch the whole thing online, and if you like the music, it's part of a remix soundtrack by Theophany. For more information on any of these stories, or to keep up to date with the latest gaming news, head to playerattack.com. But for now, stick around, we've got plenty more still to come.
I would probably call it like a top-down 2D stealth action point-and-click game.
Mini Metro is a minimalist subway simulation game.
You play a radio technician that's been contracted to go in and find the source of an unexplained radio signal that's begun broadcasting out of the castle.
A Wildfire is a stealth game where you can control the elements of fire, water and earth, and you can use them to turn the environment against your enemies in creative ways.
If I could describe the game with any experience, it's probably waking up from a fever dream.
The Adventure Pals is like this quirky platformer game about this small boy and the crazy adventures he goes on with his giraffe and pet rock.
A big open world space game, so you've got your own ship, you run around, buy and sell things, take jobs where you can get them. The big difference is that we've modeled the ships on submarines.
So it's like a point-and-click adventure game.
In essence, yeah, but it's more than just clicking everywhere.
My brother and I didn't really have any art skills, so we were trying to find an idea that we could use that wouldn't really have to use much art. And we thought, petri maps, I mean, it's just like lines and dots. I mean, we can handle that.
It's not this quirky game about trying to rescue your father who's been kidnapped through this evil villain trying to turn all the old people into hot dogs.
You don't get to look out the front window. You're looking at navigational charts and sensor arrays trying to figure out where everything is.
I really wanted the player to be kind of afraid when they're playing it.
There's a lot of like moving and manipulating things to really make you feel like you're a part of the environment rather than just clicking around on it.
You don't directly fight enemies with combat, you basically use your abilities to overcome them with confusion, stealth, subterfuge, and any other combination of abilities as well.
We built this whole setup behind us, and it actually works. Every switch, every button, every light, it all works with the game. So we're not going to sell it because we're a really tiny team and we can't mass produce anything, but we're trying to make sure people at home can build their own.
I kind of wanted to create a very cute and bright art style, but you know, make it unexpectedly quite crass and a lot more dirty around the sides.
I like building environments like this. Let me make a game about it.
What sets this game apart from all the other indie games that are here today?
I'd say maybe the look's probably the most important thing. Just the white, very stark look.
About 3-4 years ago, I drew this giraffe and it looked amazing, so I decided I was going to turn it into a game.
I like pixel art as like a nostalgia piece, but we wanted to do something simple to work with. And pixel art's great because you know exactly where everything is at any point. But we didn't want to be like super classic about it, like, you know, NES palette only. So we added like modern lighting effects and really nice shading and that sort of thing to give it like that little modern touch, you know?
It's very distinctive, and it also means that people kind of understand really what the game is about quite early on.
What makes this game special?
Well, I think it's my background as an environment artist sort of puts it in a unique kind of place. It's a game about exploring an environment. The puzzles are very much about the connectivity within the environment, and the storytelling itself is done through the environment. It's about sort of piecing the story together from bits and pieces what we can find around the place, and sort of making the environment itself the central character of the game.
There's a whole bunch of space games, but they always treat your ship like you're a plane, like you're dogfighting. And to us, that didn't seem realistic. Like, space is huge. You're trying to send torpedoes at things that are, you know, hundreds or thousands of kilometers away. You're not doing like close quarters combat, not in our minds anyway.
I take a lot of inspiration from like Dan Harmon from like Community, because he's like, I'm just gonna make a whole episode of everyone inside a video game. Why not?
I am the person you are looking for. Here is my home and studio. This is where I make my sweet-ass discotheque beats. I also use it to look at cats on the internet and slowly waste away my life.
I came from the kind of Newgrounds era of things where, you know, I grew up playing Castle Crashers and I bloody loved it. But I'm also like a big fan of like cartoons as well, so I drew a lot of inspiration from cartoons, things like Adventure Time, Gravity Falls, and we're kind of trying to do like aim at similar demographics as they do, like something for kids and also something adults can enjoy as well.
One of the reasons I became a solo developer is that no one can tell me otherwise. So there's no guy who can be like, Jacob, what are you doing? Like, why are you making this terrible thing?
Careful excavation of the debris is paramount.
Here we have a game that went through a series of constraints.
Take your pants off.
From the sounds of things, you seem to look at things in the world and go, I reckon that's going to be big. And then you jump on it, and then it does blow up. Yeah. How do you do that? How do you possess that skill?
I'll tell you, I must be very clear. It's a little bit of chance, and it's a little bit of skill and a lot of luck. I've actually recognized some things that haven't, you know, that I was like, this is not going to be big, and then it blows up, and I missed it completely. So it's just one of those things where, you know, all of my background and what I've done in the various parts of the entertainment industry, I can look at things and go, you know what, this feels right.
So, I mean, internet, radio, and video games, and all this sort of thing, and now you're here.
Yeah, I'm here in Australia, I'm here in Melbourne, having a great time. I mean, PAX is a huge part of the gaming culture. I've been going to PAX since they started the very first one in Seattle, you know, 10 plus years ago. And this is my first time in Melbourne, and I'm just having a great time.
I like that you're not saying it's your first time in Australia. You have been here before. You were here for Xbox 360 stuff.
That's right. I was here at the Xbox 360 launch in 2006. I was on Bondi Beach doing a water balloon toss. Very strange life I have. I was back again in 2010 or 11, and here I am now.
And is this in any way the life that you thought that you would have?
You know, I knew I wanted to work in an exciting business, and I wanted to have a job that didn't feel like a job. And this checks all those boxes. And I love what I do. I love what I do.
Has nothing to fear.
The creature was between 7.5 feet tall, strong.
At this point, we cannot confirm nor deny the sighting. Any other questions?
This glimpse is as close as most of us will ever get.
One pair of...
What's been your favorite thing that Xbox has done over the years? You've been with the company for a while now. Yeah. What's been your favorite, if you had to pick one?
I have to say, and it's probably something that happened before I joined the team, right before I joined the team, is the fact that we produced the original Xbox, and the team had the foresight to say, we're going to put a network port in the back. we don't know what we're going to do with it yet. And they put it in the product, and it was a full year before it launched, and then we created Xbox Live, and then the rest is history. So being able to kind of figure out where the industry is going to go and say, we're going to build something now that's going to take us there, it put us in a great position. I'm real proud of that.
You are the mouthpiece for one of the world's largest entertainment companies.
Yeah.
What sort of pressure is involved with that?
I talked a little bit about this in my keynote, is I wake up every single day and I know how lucky I am to have a job that I love, that is fun, that doesn't feel like a job. I mean, I'm doing it all the time. And I wake up every day and go, God, I hope I don't screw this up today. So it is a little bit of pressure, but it's also so extraordinarily fun. The team I work with is unbelievable. They're so smart and they build great stuff, and I just have to be in a great position where I can go out and talk about the great stuff that the men and women back in Seattle are building. It's just I love it.
So if there's anyone watching right now and they're like, I want to be Major Nelson when I grow up.
Yeah.
Is there any advice that you can give them?
Yeah, I mean, the advice is say yes to everything. Everything, whether it's gaming related or not, adds to your person and can bring you closer to your destination. I said this in my keynote, if you're comfortable, get uncomfortable. Try something new. Stick out a hand and introduce yourself. If you're having trouble with people, then you need to learn how to get over that. But make yourself uncomfortable and try new things.
Because you were also saying, when we were talking about the internet radio stuff, that was pioneering. It's just nobody was listening to the radio on the internet. And so you started doing that. And also you were doing everything to make sure that worked.
Yeah, we're absolutely. I mean, I worked on internet radio, 20 years ago, right? Before we had those screechy modems that you had to, Mom, don't pick up the phone, all of those things. So working on that so early on, and it was unbelievable that I knew that I said, we're going to live in an always connected world, and that's where we are right now.
That's where we are, and you no longer have to climb radio towers to make sure things work.
I do them for fun now. No, I don't.
Gears 4, Forza Horizon 3, Battlefield 1, Titanfall 2, ReCore, Fallout 4, Infinite Warfare, Inside, and more! All this gaming is making me hungry!
Now, PAX Australia, it's huge. We have a massive indie exhibit over there. Have you had a chance to check anything out yet?
I have. It's really great. And that's one of the things I love coming down here. I mean, it's great seeing the games that Xbox is working on, but I'm around those, and it's wonderful to see the people enjoying them. But I went over to spend a lot of time in the indie section to really see what the indie scene is like in Melbourne, and it's wonderful. It's so creative and lovely.
Did any of them stand out?
Well, there's a few that stand out. We're talking to them about maybe bringing them to Xbox. That's all I can say. I don't want to give any specifics, but I'll just say that there's some really great creativity coming in that space.
I'm out.
Cheese grits, cheese grits, cheese grits.
Hi, I'm Frank Azor, co-founder of Alienware and vice president and general manager for Alienware and XPS at Dell. Alienware came out of an idea really around helping our friends and family be able to play video games with us. About 20 years ago, if you could try and remember the time, there was a very different kind of landscape at the time. The internet was in its infancy. We had DOS, we had Windows, we had applications that ran on DOS, we had applications that ran on Windows. A lot of them didn't run on both. We had 16-bit hardware, 32-bit hardware. You had 2D video cards, and we just started to see brand new 3D video cards. To get this stuff to work together, to allow you to play games, you basically had to be like an IT professional. It was really hard. So friends and family would come to us and ask us to help build their gaming computers for them, or to take their current computers and modify them to play games. So that's really where the catalyst of the company came from. Nelson and Alex were trying to build a computer company, and they started seeing that the overwhelming amount of demands that they got were around gaming type of computers. So that prompted them to build the first computer that they submitted to a magazine. It was called the Blade, and it was submitted to Boot Magazine, which is the magazine in the US that is now called Maximum PC. And they absolutely loved the computer. The editor didn't want to give it back because he loved the computer so much. So they asked for a phone number. They didn't even ask for a website because that was not even popular back then. And the phone calls started coming in. People wanted to buy that computer. And at around the same time, before they submitted the machine, they were thinking about what are we going to call this company, this gaming company. We're going to be working with like the latest and greatest hardware, the latest and greatest software. At the time, the X-Files was a really popular show. Movies like Independence Day were like the blockbusters in the theaters. And Nelson came up with the name Alienware. He was thinking to himself, we tend to think of aliens as having like superior technology. We're going to be working with superior technology. So, software, hardware, kind of Alienware. And that was like the major catapult for the company that you know today. A lot's happened since then, obviously. We decided to build our own proprietary products. We invented the world's first gaming notebook. We did the M11X, we did the Alpha, the Steam Machine, external graphics, SLI notebooks, liquid-cooled desktops, and the hits just keep on coming. Acquired by Dell 10 years ago, and here we are celebrating our 28th anniversary. 2016 has been a remarkably busy year, probably one of the busiest years I can remember in our history. We've had, starting at CES, it just started hitting. We announced our partnership with Oculus at CES, where we were the first to announce VR certified systems with them. So you can buy an Alienware desktop or notebook and know that it's going to be 100% guaranteed and supported to work with Oculus. And then subsequently, we launched a similar partnership with HTC and Vive. And that started in January. We also announced our 13-inch OLED laptop in January. Fast forward a few months, we introduced the Alienware Aurora, our compact mid-tower desktop, which is fully VR certified as well. Really, really cool system. It's a brand new industrial design. You can upgrade it without having to use any tools. You can, it has liquid cooling, it's extremely quiet, it can support up to dual 1080 NVIDIA graphics cards. It's a powerhouse of a machine that it's a really small and efficient compact design. We also introduced the brand new Alienware Alpha R2. We upgraded all of the performance in the R2. We upgraded the CPU, upgraded the graphics. We added a graphics amplifier support to it so you can expand it and even make it VR capable over time. And we updated the Area 51. 3 new desktops in the middle of the year. And then just a few months ago, we updated all of our laptops too. So we introduced the 17-inch VR certified, the new 15-inch VR certified, and we introduced the world's smallest VR system, our VR mobile system, the brand new Alienware 13, which is also available with that amazing 13-inch OLED panel. And I hope we're done for the year. Here we are in November. It's been a hell of a busy year. Hopefully this is my last trip for the year in PAX Australia. We're having an absolute blast out here. But it all picks up again at CES in a few months, so I don't expect next year to be any different.
And that's about it for this year of Player Attack. Thanks for watching. We have officially come to the end of yet another season, our 4th in this format. And while we're really looking forward to a big 2017, some things are going to change before we get there. Firstly, a big thank you to the Australian community TV channels that has helped us out over the past year. We've loved sharing the airwaves with all the other amazing shows on C44 in Adelaide, C31 in Melbourne and 31 Digital in Brisbane, but thanks to some decisions made by the Australian government, community TV in Australia is being taken off air in 2017, taking us with it. If you want to keep watching Player Attack, you've got a few options. Each of the community channels will still be running in an online format, so you can grab their apps or visit their websites to tune in that way. Otherwise, Aurora will still be broadcasting loud and proud on Foxtel and Ozstar, included in every subscription package, so there is no excuse. And of course, we are all over the internet. Head to playerattack.com for the latest episode as it's broadcast, or subscribe to our channels on YouTube or Dailymotion. Thanks as well to everyone who's been a part of Player Attack over the past 12 months, particularly our wonderful family of presenters and writers. Thanks to everybody for helping us out at events, expos and cons, and thanks to you for watching. I know it sounds cliched, but we really wouldn't be here without you. Player Attack will be back on air in February 2017. Until then, we've put together some of our favourite clips for you to revisit the big year that was 2016. In the meantime, you can catch us at playerattack.com. We're on Facebook and Twitter, and if you've got something you want to say, send us an email, mailbox@playerattack.com, or just hop on our forums. Also, if you want to support Player Attack, you can find us on Patreon and help us bring you the latest in gaming news, plus all these wonderful interviews and reviews from the world of video games. Till next year, I'm Jessica Citizen, and this is Player Attack.